Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for this segment, we have Andreas, Zagos, Director and Chief Quant at IPR, to discuss the patent value factor to designing an index. Andreas, it's great to see you. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thank you. Thank you, Jill, for having me in Trade Talks.
All right, you got it. And how do you value patents automatically?
Yes, that's a very good question. So I would like to answer it with one short story, how we came to develop this method. It was approximately 20 years ago where we have been into a German company, a Fortune 500, and they had a lot of patents to value. And the CEO asked us, please, can you provide us a patent valuation? So the idea was, yes, of course we can. We take discounted cash flow method, for example, and we sent him a proposal. It was a quite big proposal for 1,000 patent families. And then we met, and he came to us back and said, well, guys, of course, I understand there's a lot of work, but you know what? I know that 20% of my patents have approximately 80% of the value. Why should I value all the rest, all the low value patents? So then we came back to the office and the idea began. And we said, yes, how can we do this? Because he said then, I would like to have a big red button. I will press on it, and then I will have a value range. And and then the idea began. And the idea was very similar to real estate valuation. This means that we are developing different indicators which are applied over the patents or the alive patent portfolio. And we need, secondly, a transaction database where we know the value of the patents which have been bought or sold from the past. This transaction database is at least, let's say, our secret sauce, which is used to train an algorithm, which is then applied over all the alive patents. Those indicators which we are using are in the area of the assignee itself. This means the holder of the patent, because he has a big impact into the value. Then the technology itself, the market coverage. This means we are looking in how many markets the patents are filed and granted. The market attractiveness, we were analyzing, for example, how many applications and grants are in the different technology areas, and of course, all the legals. And this proprietary technology, which is based on a huge data set, is used to value every single patent family, which is then aggregated into the total patent value of a company.
So how does patent value impact equities?
Yeah, so our main theory was that, is it possible that equities with high patent value perform better in the market than those without? So this theory seems very easy, but it took us a lot of years to prove that this is true. We currently finalized as well a study with over 31 indices showing that we can generate alpha, that our value factor is not correlated with any other factor, for example, number on patents or R&D expenditure. And it has a small bias. Of course, it has a bias because we are selecting securities which have patents as itself. Now, how does it impact? The patent value factor is one of few indicators that currently exist which are able to look into a potential future. You have to imagine that if you look now into a company, approximately 20% of the patents are only used in the current product, 20% may be never used, and all those 60% that are in the patent portfolio are expressing the potential new futures and a potential future for the company. Now, how does this factor impact equities? From our perspective, it shows more or less the health status of a company, because a company needs revenues, needs profits to invest in all the topic, to invest into research and development, and the output should be then at the end valuable patents. But more important is that the board is committed to reinvest a huge amount on money for own research and development and innovation. This means that we are analyzing at the end a kind of the DNA innovation status, we say, of the company. And this leads to equities which have a much better market perspective than equities who don't have patents at all.
And finally, how do you use the patent value factor to design an index like the NCX?
Yeah. So first of all, the NCX is really a very interesting index because we have selected small and mid cap equities based on our signal. So there are multiple ways how to use our data, from using as well qualitative analysis, or we can use, for example, equities with the highest patent value. But we decided together that we use patent value divided through market cap. So this is the main signal, which led to select, of course, small and mid cap equities with a main sector, which is at the end healthcare. And this can be explained because there are many companies out there which are small but have a quite high patent value related to their market cap.
All right, Andreas, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you very much, Jill, for having me.